Hello everybody, Big Planes here. Now before I dive too deep into this video on the Emirates A380, I would like to give a shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you to everybody over on Patreon who helps us support the channel. You guys are one of the main reasons why I'm actually able to build these things. So yeah, if you want to go over and see exclusive content and support the channel while you're at it, I will leave a link in the description below to my Patreon. So, the A380, and more specifically the A380 tail, I've made some pretty notable progress. Now, do keep in mind, obviously, that this part of the plane is very tedious because I have to form the underside as well as try to mold it back down to a point. So it's moving very slowly, to say the least, but I have made some pretty notable progress, especially where the horizontal tail structure is. I have sort of a mini wing box situation going on back here, so let's talk about it. So the most obvious thing I've done is I've extended this structure all the way back up here. From the last video, it ended right here. I've now extended it all the way up here, and this obviously has to be very sturdy because it's supporting the weight of the horizontal stabilizers and as well as the vertical stabilizer, which on this plane is absolutely massive. So I have a nice little wing box structure there, and you can see that it's a very similar wing box structure to the one that I used on my Air Force One mock. Actually, in fact, it's the same design. I used the same design with the Technic bricks and with the hinges and angle plate, and it worked very well actually for getting the angle of the tail. You can see I used it on this thing right here. It worked very well. It's going to be a similar angle to that, and you can see that the dihedral is achieved by using one of those. Reach way over here. The dihedral is achieved by using one of those bent or sort of like very low angle Technic connectors, and I hinge it at the top. And in order to get the forward cant, the entire assembly is angled forward. So that's how I'm going to try to get the horizontal stabilizer pretty close to accurate for this thing. Again, it's very difficult because the horizontal stabilizer on this model is almost the size of an entire like A320 or 737. So it's going to be very large, obviously. So it's going to take a lot to support it. The other thing that I have done in this update, or that's going to be in this update, is I've started molding the underside of this whole structure here. So you can see that right here underneath there are a bunch of sort of wedge bricks. And I'm going to flip this over in a second here so you can see exactly what I've done there. But I have actually started molding it from up here all the way back. So here, let me flip this over so you can see what the underside of that actually looks like. Okay, so with the help of a couple of support bricks, I flipped this entire section over. Now, obviously, there are a lot of areas of this that are not done yet. Like you can see, there are still some gaps here I want to fill, and it's not focusing. And there are also obviously gaps, the camera's not focusing. And there are obviously a bunch of other gaps at the very end there. But this is what I have so far for this, and I'm somewhat pleased with it. Like I said, it's sort of a first draft. You can see though that it blends in from the thicker sort of wider wing core section here, and it sort of tapers out. And I wanted this to be as sturdy as I could, but also sort of as smooth as I could make it. So I basically just took this entire panel and angled it at the proper angle, and then of course it angles down there again. Now obviously some areas are still being filled in, but that's what's going on here. You can also see from this angle that the red stripe will come through all the way down here. So that's what my plan is for the underside of this, at least. And you can also sort of see the profile, the head-on profile of the underside of the tail. So not a whole ton going on down here, but I did think it was worth showing you in this video. Alright, so that was a fairly short video. That's pretty much all I have for this update. By the next update, I'm hoping to have the entire underside completely smoothed out. I want to fill in all of those gaps. I want to sort of optimize it and make it look really nice and smooth. I'm also hoping to have most of the horizontal stabilizer in, and I might even start working on blending it into the upper deck. That's what I'm hoping to have in the next video, which should be sometime next week. So that's all I really have for this one. We're getting pretty close to the final product here on this A380, so stay tuned and more videos are to come. That's all I really have for this video, and bye for now.